Human beings have many methods for measuring intelligence. Often, human beings like to test other animals for intelligence, such as monkeys, parrots, rats, mice. And there's very little known about the immune system, but one would go to argue, such as myself, that perhaps the immune system has almost perfect intelligence. There have been many studies of chimpanzees that have shown that chimpanzees in fact have a better working memory short term than even the smartest human being. Even less intelligent chimpanzees can outperform people with 160 IQ. That has been shown many times. And one might ask themselves, having learned that, what actually is intelligence for a human being? Intelligence for a human being could be defined as the ability to ask each other questions. Human beings are the only species that ask each other questions: who, what, when, where, why, how. Chimpanzees have opposable thumbs, they're capable of war, and they even use tools. There has only been one organism that has been proven to ask questions that is capable of communicating with questions. Here's a graph of the intelligence of a chimpanzee compared with working memory compared to a human being. This top line being the chimpanzee, this declining line being a human being. The organism that I speak of that was actually capable of asking questions was Alex the parrot. He would ask his owners, which was Harvard University, "What color am I?" There are also other tests that measure cognitive ability, such as mazes that are given to rodents such as rats and mice. Some may consider cognitive ability of a human being to be the ability to show empathy, which rats have shown empathy. They will pass out food to help out a fellow rat. But then I beg to ask a question. What about unicellular organisms, or even organisms that may or may not be symbiotic with human beings, even though they're genetically a part of our body, such as white blood cells? In some ways, a white blood cell's intelligence could be considered nearly perfect. It's able to identify a threat and destroy the threat, protecting the human body, all while learning, all while traveling the maze of the human body, all while identifying with perfect accuracy threats that sometimes, in some cases, it has never encountered before. There is a reproduction cycle for white blood cells. The white blood cells are primarily created in the bone marrow of human beings. That means they're basically created in your bones, but they also replicate to when a threat is identified to destroy that threat. Here's an example of a white blood cell traveling the maze of the human body after it's identified a threat that it has never, as a single cell, encountered before, but it has the knowledge that that threat is a threat and must be destroyed. With a unicellular structure, it doesn't have eyes, it doesn't have ears, it identifies it. Some theorize on proteins and amino acids and receptors that exist on the bacteria that, in this particular case, the white blood cell is chasing. That is an example of a white blood cell destroying a bacteria in the human body, using what some may argue is an actual intellectual level of identification that is comparable to the perfect police officer and the perfect judge. I have a theory that I would like to present. There is an existing theory that is not my own, that the mitochondria that exist within an animal cell evolve separately from eukaryotic cells, which make up almost all animals, and created a symbiotic relationship with animal cells. So they reproduce together and operate as a single cell. It is possible, in my mind, that a lysosome, a white blood cell, evolved the same way many millions, possibly billions of years ago. And the possibility is that there's intelligence to a white blood cell that we don't fully understand, but may in some ways be more perfect than human intelligence, judged on the scales that we judge rats, mice, chimpanzees, or parrots.